So what we've now encountered with the coronavirus, is this part of a correction in order to kind of motivate or ignite or fuel us into going in the right direction? Or is it just a flu that just happens every now and then and we're just having to deal with it?
How do you want me to answer that question?
I want you to speak to...
You know how I work. I hear something and I'm like, oh, I can see 3 different ways this can go. Which one are you after?
I look at what we're experiencing right now as an opportunity. Some people may see it as a punishment. It's pretty much maybe neutral too to some people, but it's really just opportunity or it's a punishment. And I feel right now this is not just going to be a little moment in life of inconvenience and frustration. This has initiated us into a new path that we're going on.
A corrective path is what you're saying.
Yeah, coming back into alignment, correcting the failed part of the systems of where we've came from.
So speaking from a social perspective or speaking from a prophetic perspective?
Do both.
Okay. So my barn rant that I posted the other day, I spoke to where I think the origin of this is. And essentially people have forgotten the prayer that they were articulating. And so most people were praying, I just want to stop moving. I just want a break. I just want some time to myself. I just want space to be able to actually deal with my trauma or whatever healing or whatever growth that I want to focus on. I need a break. I don't think I've met a single person who hasn't said that, at least out loud to me. And so that's one of the prayers. The other prayer is being led by people who don't have the best interests of the people at heart. Now you put a pressurized situation like this out there and you get to see where the priorities really lie, because people can't watch themselves 24/7, but everyone is watching them. And so now you have the decision makers revealing themselves. And so whether they mean to or not, it's highlighting the quality of the individuals and their priorities. And then people get to see who is it really that you're following, and are they the best person to lead you? And so that's one of the responses that this situation offers. To address the first prayer, you can only have an entire species praying for one thing for so long before eventually they get that thing. And so this is nature responding. This is the universe responding. This is God responding, whatever your cosmology dictates. And it's the answer to the prayers that people forgot they were articulating and forgot to nuance. Because when people don't nuance their prayers, they don't really curate what it is that they're asking for and what that's going to look like. And in metaphysics, we're always taught that if you're in need of correction, trauma and drama are the only ways that people learn. Most people, they don't believe anything's really happened. They don't believe they've actually accomplished something if they haven't had to fight for it. There are very few people who can have things handed to them and they don't somehow feel insecure about it or feel like it's unstable, or what was the word that I kept using last week? Everything was very precarious. And so we always feel like if we take a misstep, a single misstep, the whole thing's going to come crashing down, and then that breeds the insecurity or the uncertainty that everything is founded on. Everything's founded on the idea that we have to keep moving before reality catches up to us. That is a subconscious belief of the species. Maybe not the whole species, but most of them. And so this situation has answered them, whether they realized they were asking for something or not. It responded. And so it forces people into, okay, here's your space, you got to stop moving. For the most people, with the exception of the people who are locked at home with their children, for the most, the stressors that they kept excusing their lack of progress on have been taken care of for them. And not only are people not forced into a lot of the same situations that they were using as the excuse to not do the work, but also, at least in Canada, the government has made concessions in order to relieve the financial burden so that you don't also have the excuse of, I'm not making enough money in order to support myself, to not do it. Because usually people don't take the vacation, they don't take the time off, they don't change the job because of financial insecurity. And so it's like, okay, here, this is the best possible naturally orchestrated situation where I have addressed every one of your excuses that I could possibly address. Now what's your excuse? Oh, I'm depressed because of the whole thing, so I just can't. It's like, ugh, well, I can't help you with that.
So you're saying that there is an intention, whether or a prayer that's been going on for some time, where people just needed that space. They needed some time to rest, to reset, to explore, to, figure out who they are. And so with the situation, the prayer has been answered.
Yes.
And people now have this space.
And the thing is that with this situation, it's indiscriminate. Disease is indiscriminate. It doesn't care who it touches. It's not going after certain people. Yes, certain people are more vulnerable to it, but it's not going after people. It's not attacking. It's not hunting. It's not personal. So people who are taking it personally and getting stressed about it as though they're under attack, that has nothing to do with what's really going on. That's a deeper issue that is one of the shadows that you need to look at. And one of the things that we had talked about was I wanted to start going public months ago with teachings so that when this hit, people had quality work to be doing. We could guide them through their exploration